Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the February 16, 2022 meeting of the Eureka Springs Historic District Commission. I'm Steve Holyfield, Chair. Kyle, will you please call the roll?
Dee Bright.
Here.
Marty Kogan.
Here.
Steve Holyfield.
Here.
Is it Maggie Haig?
Here.
Kyle Palmer is present. Judy Holden.
Here.
We have a quorum for business. The Eureka Springs Historic District Commission is empowered by the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to issue a certificate of appropriateness for alterations of exterior architectural features, demolition, and new construction with this historic district. We use the Eureka Springs Historic District Design Guidelines and the U.S. Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties as the basis for our decisions. The Commission can take the following actions on an application: approval of modifications, denial, or deferral for more information. Appeal of denial may be made to the Circuit Court. Public comments on agenda items will be heard as each item is called. Other comments will be heard during the public comment period. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
I'd like to add two things. A discussion of the database system, online database that we started. And I would like to discuss consent agenda and administrative approvals.
Anybody else have anything else?
Yes. I would like to withhold judgment on 7 Armstrong and open it up for discussion because there are a number of outstanding questions pertaining to what this person wishes to do with the property.
Yes.
Wouldn't we do that when we call it?
It's done as it's called up to discuss. You can make any comment you want about.
I'm sorry?
We'll go through this item as new business. 7th Armstrong is on new business. So when it's called up, you don't want it discussed, you do want it discussed?
I do want to discuss it.
It's on the agenda to be discussed. So.
I see that,
Right. Okay.
but not. I don't think it should be discussed in regarding this because I think there are a lot of issues with the street itself.
Okay. You want to bring that up when we talk about it?
Should be discussed separate from this line item.
Okay. Anything else?
Greg, can you tell me he called?
Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda?
Well, we need a second to what I added.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
So Dee made the motion to change the 3 items in the agenda, and Judy Holden seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. Okay. Agenda's been approved. Old business. Number 1, discussion to clarify a project at 20 Pine Street. Elizabeth Wicker, applicant owner. Under new business, 12 Douglas, replace 10 aluminum and vinyl windows with wooden windows. Number 2, 7 Armstrong, relocate non-historic retaining wall to create off-street parking area. Number 3, 19 Pine, construction of rear parking. So we'll stop there, take each item as presented. First up, under old business, is 20 Pine Street. Do we have anybody here from 20 Pine? Would like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Elizabeth Carol Wicker. I'm the owner.
Okay.
My husband owns it too, so.
All right. You have anything to say about this, Kylie, or just want me to take it?
No, I don't have a formal staff report. Details of the window project are included in the executive summary in your packets. The basic overview is that on February 8th, Ms. Wicker approached me about replacing 4 3-foot by 6-foot windows in kind. I clarified that they would be replaced exactly as they are with replacement wood windows. And that was agreed upon, and that's within my authority to issue a administrative approval. I did follow up with Kyle because of his expertise in that, and the Wickers and Kyle were in contact, so I believe Kyle actually went to the property and saw kind of what's going on there. And then after you asked me to follow up with them, I did receive an email saying that there were 6 windows on the front, which was not made clear from the applicant when I issued the certificate of appropriateness. If you turn to page 7, you'll see the certificate of appropriateness that was issued on the 10th of February. It explicitly says replace 4 windows and surrounds 3 foot by 6 foot, all wood, same design, same location.
Okay. So how many windows will be replaced, Ms. Wicker?
And she's correct. When Kyle went over there, you can see we address one side of the house at a time because there are no floor joists. They go back to the center of the room where they don't. There's no floor joist. So when we opened up to replace those porches as they are, there's no floor joist all the way back 3 feet. So we had to address all the deterioration within those walls. So there is one window upstairs that is not conducive to period appropriate that we will replace. And I sent Kylie a picture of the earliest I had was 1980. And it shows that they're all 3 by 6 windows with the 4 divided lights. And there is 2 windows, so I wanted to kind of address those as we were approaching the whole front of the window. As I said, once we start opening up perimeter walls and support systems, once we open that up, there is so much deterioration that we have to address it immediately. So I kind of threw in the other 2 windows because we're going across the front to support the perimeter beams. And so once we open those up, the perimeter beams around the porch extend on over to the rest of the front of the home. But we do propose to replace the period appropriate windows if there is that much deterioration. We only know once we open up the wall. The 4 windows are 2 below on the front porch and 2 on the above porch balcony. And as I said, there's so much deterioration. Kyle looked at it. You can, once you put your fingernail in it, the whole thing falls off. So we will replace and replicate those as they are in the 1992 picture and the 1980 photo, because we believe they are period appropriate and authentic. And the one above on the front porch that is not period appropriate, we will replace it according to the 1980 and 1992 photos. We will save what we can, sashes, frames. Thus far, there's not a whole lot to say, but we will replace them and replicate them as close to these photos as possible.
Okay. So there's 6 windows.
There are 6 windows I'd like to go ahead and address because there's 2 other ones continuous across the front of the home that are still 3 by 6, the same 4 divided windows.
Right.
So in effect, if we go across and do the perimeter beams or replace the perimeter support beams and we find that they're going to fall off, we would like to go ahead and address that
Right.
as we go, not an emergency.
So we're going to change it from 4 to 6 windows.
Please.
Okay. Just want to make sure you
Yes.
clarify. Okay.
Please.
All
We'll
right.
go to the other sides once we find out that they're going to fall off.
Right. And this saves time for you that we
Yes,
have this
thank
covered.
you.
So
Yeah.
all windows are on the 2nd floor?
Yes.
Okay.
No, one is on the front lower. You can see that in the 1992 photo, and you can't see it in the 1980 photo. But You can see the edge of the lower photo, that's the only window on the front, is the one that you see in the 1992 photo. And then you can see the corner, there's only one on the upper story, that's the same 3x6 4 divided light that is in the upper front.
Okay.
Okay?
So there's 1 on the ground level and 5 on the upper level.
3 on the bottom and 3 on the top.
3 on the bottom, 3 on the top.
Uh-huh.
If you look at page 9, the image that I took from Google Street View, the second picture, you can see on the top level, moving from left to right, there's a window, door, window, and then the window with the air conditioner unit.
Right.
And then on the bottom, moving left to right, there's window, door, window, window,
Okay.
door.
All right. 3 on top, 3 on the bottom. And the windows will be, are they 4 over 1 or 1 over 1? Is the one
It's
pane and 1
2
pane?
over 2, it's a 4
2 over
divided.
2.
Yes.
Okay, 2 over 2.
2 below and 2 above.
And all replacements will be wood.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for work at 20 Pine Street as proposed. There'll be 6 windows instead of 4.
Thank you.
Judy, did you say something?
I was just going to ask about that.
Well, somebody second it, so she can
Is that
finish
coming up next?
discussing. Somebody second it, so you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay, Kyle
Okay,
second.
Judy, go.
Is that coming up next?
What's that?
That's what I was going to ask Judy. Go ahead.
I'm just inquiring about one window on the side that has never been done up to code.
It says inappropriate temporary replacement windows subject to 6-month time frame for compatible replacement, September 2020. That's the one that you came to us, right?
Previously, yeah, that was not, we've gone side by side because once the perimeter beams are down, they're down, and we came to as an emergency on that one as well. I'm trying to find, I wasn't prepared to address that because that was a separate COA. So I have found photos that the window that we did replace there in an emergency, that it was not the original window. So I'm looking for the original windows, and I will replace those if I can find the period appropriate window for that error.
Could we have you apply for this again because it's expired?
I will apply for that again.
Yeah, because I think it needs
Yes.
to at least be wood.
That one is wood, but it was
Okay.
just, and it's the same width that was just shorter because the wood was so rotten all the way up. The window was sitting on the ground. It was not the original window.
No, I remember it was in bad shape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no floor joist all the way back to the center of house on that west side of the house.
Yeah, just reapply and
Okay,
so we can make it current.
okay,
Keep it up to date. Would be great, thanks.
okay, I will.
Is that it then? Any other comments, questions? So we'll vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Wicker.
Okay. Do I stay for the administrative approvals on number 7?
You don't have to.
That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, no, you don't have to stay.
That's administrative.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. New business, we have 15 Douglas, replace 10 aluminum and vinyl windows with wooden windows. Anybody here for Douglas? Like, step up the mic, please.
My name is Ken Gaillot. My wife and I own 15 Douglas.
Okay.
The residence at 15 Douglas Street is a traditional folk-style I-house constructed around 1889. In the late 1970s, a side wing addition was added, which serves as a sunroom. At an unknown time, a single-story shed roof kitchen addition was added to the rear. This addition was removed in 1990 and rebuilt as a two-story addition. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to replace 6 narrow aluminum frame 1/1 windows with wooden windows of matching design. These are located on the non-historic sunroom wing addition. They're also looking to replace 4 windows in the rear addition, which is the 1990s kitchen bathroom remodel, with wooden windows of matching design. In evaluating this request, staff makes the following findings of fact. The proposed alterations will improve the integrity of the property, and the alterations align with standards and guidelines.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 15 Douglas as proposed.
Second.
Dee made the motion and Judy seconded. Any other comments, questions?
No, but thank you for
Thank you.
replacing them with wood.
Yeah, especially the sunroom ones, they were originally designed as storm windows, so they're not even meant to be primary windows, and they have no, the cold just comes right through them. and-
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was definitely
Well,
a
thank
good
you.
thing.
Yeah, thank you for giving this some TLC. It needed it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. 5-0 carries. Approved. Next up is 7 Armstrong?
Yes.
7 Armstrong, relocate non-historic retaining wall to create off-street parking area. Do we have anybody here for 7 Armstrong? Introduce yourself, please.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Morris, owner. I've got a couple guys here for backup.
Okay.
We don't fight.
Good to have group support here.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Latigo Troyer. I own Ozark Construction.
Okay.
I'd like to go.
I'm Dan Halverson. I have Eureka-style rock walls.
Okay. Kylie?
The Peabody was originally constructed circa 1898. A major renovation drastically changed the form and design of the historic building. Since that time, it has seen a major fire and reconstruction that again modified its original design. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to remove a cement block retaining wall to expand the parking on the southeast corner of the property. Stacked stone could be reused as appropriate. In evaluating this request, staff makes the following findings of fact. The proposed alterations impact a concrete block retaining wall that was created in 1991 and should not be considered historic. The stacked stone wall was altered at that time. A portion of the stacked stone wall is located within the public right-of-way and as such could be removed by the city as a matter of public safety. It's important to note that the property is highly altered from its original design due to renovations and a fire. The question of tree removal will be referred to BOZA at the next regular meeting.
I would like to wait and postpone this till we hear from BOZA and the tree removal.
You could go ahead and make a decision based on design pending the BOZA approval of the tree. I think that would be the most expedient thing to do for the applicant.
I know it was supposed to be on planning, and it was pulled by planning by the owners. I have had phone calls from other people in town, and they think we should wait, is what I've been asked. But
Clarification, who's BOZA?
The Board of Zoning Adjustments, it's also the Planning Commission, so the applicant was in contact with the building inspector, and the tree cut, he wasn't able to confidently say that the damage to the rock wall is 100% caused by the tree, so he wasn't able to issue the tree cut permit. So when the tree cut's denied by him, it goes to BOZA for appeal.
I'll make the motion.
Are we talking about the dry stack wall?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at number 7 Armstrong
Well, the work,
as
I'm sorry.
amended until we hear from Ozo.
Second.
I don't see that the dry stack wall has anything to do with the tree removal. The dry stack wall seems to be in good shape to me.
And that's what that's kind of where the building inspector landed on it, that he couldn't issue the tree cut permit solely on the grounds that it was damaging the wall or was imminently dangerous.
may I comment, or may I speak upon
Yes, go ahead.
the owner's behalf? The dry sack wall is very mediocre, and it is looking at a few more years before it starts falling and getting into the road and creating much more issues, especially with that tree there. That tree is not native to this area, and there shouldn't be a lot of controversy about whether or not we move rock walls away from the street of Armstrong, because that area is so congested. And I think the entire street, would follow what they're trying to do, which a lot of other companies in town are trying to do, is create off-street parking. It's a large need and necessity in this town if you want. The beautiful thing about the HDC, or you, is because you keep our town historic and you keep people wanting to come here because we keep it authentic.
Some of that parking on that street is city property.
Absolutely. But
Like some of the cars, if you park on the side, like this side next to the properties or fences.
I absolutely understand. I live on
Well,
Armstrong.
let me finish.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
excuse
own a
me.
home on that street. Like if this is the passenger side, those two tires and that half of the car is on maybe their property, but the other tires and the drivers is on city property.
Mm-hmm.
And
So as a historic district, we're really to talk about design, as guidelines from the design point of view. If it should be parking or not be parking, that's up to a different commission, not up to us. So I hear you and understand what you say, but that's just not our job. So it's like,
100% understand. Okay.
Hey, can I say a couple things? So I don't fully understand the ins and outs of how all these committees interleave with who's in charge of what. But if you guys are saying we're not going to rule on it until the tree's approved, they might turn around and say the same thing.
no.
Point at each
Actually,
other.
so Historic District Commission, we look at design guidelines and the design of it only. Does it fit the neighborhood? Does it fit the historic home? So we use our guideline to say, I hate to say the look of it, it's more the design of it. Where is it appropriate for parking? Is there a parking place here, there? That's nothing to do with us. That's planning and zoning. And we're not going to, that's not our jurisdiction. I don't want to discuss that here.
well, one person that called me said the tree and the dirt up there is historic. So I don't know if we should wait on planning or.
I've heard that same argument, that the wall definitely is historic. And if you remove the wall, where do you intend to put it back?
So you have the drawing that I produced?
Yes?
So we're essentially building the same wall taller, but 15 to 18 feet back further from the street so that we get 2 more parking spots there.
But part of those parking spots are in city-owned property. So is it appropriate to take city-owned property for your own private use?
And again, that's not up to our commission to
No,
determine
that's not the commission. We're only involved with removing a historic wall.
the design of the wall.
And then I'm wondering, part of that wall to the, I guess, the left of it is a cement wall. What happens are you intending to move this cement wall
Correct.
and then replace that with what?
Hi guys. So there's if you're looking at the front of the Peabody, there's a straight section that
Right.
you're referring to, and then there's kind of a wing wall section that kind of angles off. In that corner, the plan is to score that and remove the wing wall section to where just the straight section is remaining. And then all the original stone that's usable, a lot of it has a lot of decay. So if it's decayed beyond reuse, what I'll do is stack it in the wall to create more mass and make the wall thicker. But a lot of that historic stone that's still there is still good. And I'm not going to pitch it and just throw it away or anything like that. So I just wanted to touch on that for you guys.
The language of this application does not indicate that you will use it. It says you could use it,
And
which leaves open that you
Sure, and
may not use it.
Right, well, I think, let
And
me
I-
specify on that. If I can use it, I absolutely will. That's why it says if he could, we could reuse it. It just depends stone by stone. Limestone being a very basic stone on the pH scale, and our rainwater being acidic. Over time, it kind of gets in between the layers and separates them. And the tops, they kind of get these pits and these peaks and valleys on the top of the stone.
Is that limestone?
It is. It's all native limestone. It all came out of Ozark Southern Stone, which is where I'll source the new stone, the same quarry where the old stuff came from. And a lot of it, the larger 8-inch blocks, are in really, really good shape to where there's minimal decay. I could, go back a ½ inch and pitch a brand new face on it and to where it would look like a brand new stone. And then whatever's bad, I can reuse, and instead of just throwing it away or something in a fill site or something like that, I'll actually stack it to add mass to the wall. So it's not really going to be wasted. Even the bad stuff that's historic, it's still going to be in the same historic place it came from, just repurposed with a more modern use, because it's kind of worn out its lifespan at that point.
And the cement area would be replaced with what? Another cement area?
No. It would be stone where the concrete wall ends. We would start a brand new stone wall, which is out here now. It would come back, and we would just continue that straight over 17 feet, and then it would make a 90-degree corner and go 5.5 feet. And then there would be 4-inch, piping in there for hydrostatic pressure relief and to prevent a corner blowout or anything in the
And
future.
you would have to excavate, once you remove the wall, you would have to excavate into the property.
Whatever is removed from the property is, we very specifically went over that the rock is supposed to be set aside for him to pick and choose what is reusable, what he needs gone, whether it's dirt, clay, roots, or whatever. But it's very specific on what I'm supposed to remove. And I agree with I would not be standing here if there was any kind of question of somebody putting in a concrete wall. I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't be here with Dan.
So you will excavate toward the property of the
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
And then you would extend the dry stack wall
Yeah.
to that
From where
area.
The straight concrete wall ends.
Come to
Can you
the
speak in the mic, please?
I
It's not on record.
Yeah,
you know.
from where the straight concrete wall ends, from that, it's about 8 inches thick, which is
Right.
the same thickness of the stones that I would be using. I would start right there and go straight across 17 feet per the engineer's drawings that you guys probably already have up
Yes, we
there.
have it here, sir.
And I do understand that there may be a infringement issue with city property line where this wall and the parking, we understand that. We just want you guys to know that there's not going to be any kind of modern stuff going on. We're totally going to reuse everything and go with the same type of materials. It's all going to be hand cut, hammer and chisel, no power tools.
Could we amend the
Why?
wording on that certificate?
I have a question first. Did you get a CUP extended for 4 units from planning?
Not yet. We've got several
So if you
things
don't
that,
get that, then I think this is mute for us to hear this until you know.
They will not issue the additional units unless adequate parking is provided for. So this is the first step.
Well, the girl that used to own this, she had 5 units, so why are we all of a sudden short parking?
Because she had the adjacent property at 3 Armstrong,
And she didn't use it for parking?
and
or
she used
lodging?
her 3 Armstrong property as additional off-street parking.
Rarely,
Yeah, rarely.
because she
I
had,
don't know, that's just,
well,
that's,
since my house is
that
next
is what it
door,
is.
I do know.
Yeah, and I live on Armstrong, and I know that she rarely used that for parking,
Okay, Judy, you made a motion
but that's neither here nor there.
Yes,
to accept this with,
once they get the consent from the tree removal.
we're going
We're-
to, you want to approve
And
tonight
once they-
and then
once they get
contingent on
code
approval?
to add
Hold on a second.
additional properties.
So your motion is to approve it tonight with them contingent on getting approval, or
Yes.
do we have a second?
I seconded
Okay.
for discussion, so we could discuss it.
Judy made the motion to approve it with them getting approval for the tree cutting later, and Dee made the second. So right now, we're voting on the motion to approve it with them, of course, getting permission later to cut the tree or not. So we're going to vote on it now. All in favor, say aye.
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 Does this tell us
No.
about the wall? I mean, what we're going to do with all the blocks and all if we vote this way?
You said they're going to back it up and use it again.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Can you do a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote, please. Judy?
Aye, yes.
Maggie?
Aye.
Dee?
Only if the wall's back just the way it is. I mean, because we've lost walls.
I know.
I-
It'll be beautiful.
No, I'm not worried about that.
It'll be great.
Is that a yes or no?
No, say yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Marty?
No, I think there are too many unproven issues regarding this, and for us to approve it, when
Motion.
you don't have a cup for additional rooms, and when you don't have approval to cut down a historic tree, and when it's maybe will maintain the dry stack wall, I absolutely do not agree with it.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You'll get your
Certificate?
certificate real quick. Okay, next up, 19 Pine Street. Anybody here from 19 Pine? No? Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
The
you.
community really appreciates your diligence. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Kylie?
Our 19 Pine folks were supposed to be on Zoom, but I am not seeing them. The property at 19 Pine Street was first constructed circa 1892 as a smaller building centered on the lot. Around 1909, the facade, which is the Pine Street side, was added, and the building was noted as the Royalty Cottage on Sanborn maps from that time until 1923. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to add additional parking at the rear of the property. In evaluating this request, staff makes the following findings of fact. The proposed alterations are located at the rear of the property and would have minimal impact on the overall integrity of design for the building.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 19 Pine Street as proposed.
Second.
Steve made the motion, Maggie seconded. Any comments? You can't really ask questions unless you want to ask Kylie questions.
Well, if you look at page 4, there's the one side in the back that's already in use, and the other side, and then they have a second proposed if we want to do the second. So I guess we should make the motion whichever one we think is best. I mean, I would say proposal 1, since this is the second. What do you guys think?
So it's proposal 2, just combining it all together?
Yeah, that's proposal 2, it looks like to me.
So are they wanting just one, or are they wanting all of it too?
I mean, they're wanting to maximize parking. Obviously, Proposal 2 gives them the most space. Their plan to construct this is just to extend the existing retaining wall higher. Oh, Nina, are you here? Looks like,
Nice picture.
we can't hear her, Ron.
They don't indicate how much higher they wish the retaining wall to be either. They could put it up 10 feet according to this. And they don't indicate the material that would be used for the retaining wall.
I think Ron's going to work on getting Nina where we can hear her. But the existing retaining wall is just cinder block. So they would only raise it enough to make the, to be able to make that area even with Hilton Street. And then they would backfill the area.
And how high is that?
I don't know, we'd have to ask
So I don't,
them. And it's probably different heights at different places.
and would they remove those trees? Do they intend to?
We're trying to get her on the TV.
Oh,
I'm going to call, I have a phone number. She's there, but it's just not.
Yeah, what kind of access would they have
Let me
to
put
the
you
wall?
on speaker,
I mean,
okay?
to the house? Also, another question.
Okay, so I have Nina, who is the agent representing the prospective buyers, on speaker on my phone.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to,
So, I believe some of the questions I could hear on Zoom was, we're wanting to know the size and kind of what they're wanting to do.
Yes.
So, there on that road, they already have one parking spot. Where those blocks are currently at, some will only be building up a couple of blocks high, and then the other side will be probably 5 to 10 blocks to make it level with the road. And I believe the width that we have, so it is at least 9 feet deep off the road already. And I believe we're somewhere between the, I want to say about 32 feet wide. So it would be, with an economic, small cars, you could probably get 3 there. But then I think the long-term plan would be to continue to work on that, to get a 3rd parking space if the 3rd one doesn't fit in that area that's already designed that you could build up.
So would they prefer proposal 2?
The goal is to get three places there.
So we should just look at proposal 2.
So what they're asking then is that they would like to have, we have 2 proposals given to us right now. One is 2 9x18. One is already in use, and they're requesting a second one to be built, 9x18. On proposal 2, they're asking for a 9x51. Is there one that they would prefer? Would they prefer proposal 2, which is 9x51?
At this time, I believe they want to go with the first proposal so that they can just immediately have 2 parking spaces.
Okay.
And that was an aerial view where we couldn't count the blocks exactly. So I believe it's going to be wider than 18.
And they would access that drive, that parking area from Hilton Street?
They'd come up Hilton, which there's no traffic
Back,
really.
the back of
Hilton,
it.
yeah, in the
There's no
back.
traffic on Hilton.
Yeah, it dead ends.
So, and what would the height of the proposed wall be to accommodate the vehicles?
Sorry, what did she say? I couldn't hear her very well, Kylie.
She asked what the height of the retaining wall would be.
It's going to be level with that street, and if they reference one of the pictures that I sent, the closer to the parking spot that exists, it's just going to need to be 2 or 3 blocks high. The opposite corner is going to probably be 5 to 6 blocks high. You know, we really need to have some kind of approval before we can get started with knowing those exact dimensions so that we know that a builder can do it without, you know, spinning their wheels.
I
And
think you're
those-
looking at page 6, correct? Where the cinder blocks on
Yeah,
one level?
That's the photo she's talking about, and you can see that the ground is uneven.
Yeah.
So you're going to need different amounts of blocks to create that retaining wall.
And she's planning on using cinder blocks as material.
Yes.
And then I see there's a,
Hold on. Did she
Nina,
answer
are
that
they
question?
planning on just using cinder blocks to create that retaining wall?
Whatever the professional recommends. I'm thinking they're going to probably need to tie it in with some rebar and core fill the blocks if they use cinder blocks. But since there's existing several, I think there's 2 or 3 layers of cinder blocks there on top of that existing retaining wall, it would make sense just to continue it with cinder blocks.
and where would the water runoff go?
Same.
In that space there, Kylie, it's about 25 blocks long from the stairs to that corner. So it's actually going to be 9 feet deep by 33 feet wide instead of 9 by 18.
Okay. And there was another question, Nina. Where would the water runoff go?
We would probably just continue where it's already going.
Can you elaborate on what the drainage situation looks like currently?
On that side of the wall, I mean, I think that they have some of that like black hose buried in, but on the other side of that, there's already a 12-foot drop, so there's nothing that we're really changing with the way the water's moving.
So there's already drainage pipes there, so.
And I see on the property next to the current cinder block, there are 2 trees that seem to be butting up against the cinder block. If you increase the height of those cinder blocks, you're going to run into problems with the root system of those trees eventually. So do you have permission from the owner of the property abutting the cinder block to chop down those trees? Because I think that might be an issue down the road.
Well, again, we don't do trees.
Yeah, we don't do trees.
What was that?
A true permission from that goes to
Well,
planning and zoning.
if you see those trees, those 2 trees, they seem very close to that cinder block.
The 2 below the wall?
So if you, I'm sorry,
The 2 below the wall?
these 2 on page 6.
That one looks like it should go anyway.
So if you build up the wall, you're likely to have problems with settlement because of those trees.
You might want to check with planning and zoning. So is there a stairwell to access the house from there? I know, like, I really don't see it on the plan, but I'm sure there's something there already, right?
What was the question?
How do they access the house from this parking area? Is there a
There's a
stairwell?
set of stairs. If you zoom into those pictures, the picture that's looking with the house to the left, and then there's that H thing that would be removed. You can see the gas meter.
Yeah.
Right in front of that gas meter, there's already a cemented set of steps that we would leave existing there. And I think there's probably about 6 or 7 steps maybe already, and we would just leave that there.
Okay,
And that would split the 2 parking areas.
all righty.
See the stairway?
Anybody else have any questions, comments? All right, let's go ahead and vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
No,
Oh,
So we got 3 yeses and 2 noes. And I vote yes, so it passes.
wait, as a chairperson, you can vote.
All right, thank you, Nina.
To break a tie.
Thank you, Kylie. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Okay. Consent agenda. Number 1 was 2051 East Van Buren, new signage. 2 was 2 Center, new signage. 3, 52 Spring, relocate electric meter, repair stucco wall.
I move to accept the consent agenda that was, that we signed off on earlier this evening.
Second.
Dee made the motion, Kyle seconded. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda as is, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay. Administrative approvals by City Historic Preservation. And we don't read those anymore, right?
They're on the website.
They're on the website. Commission business, approval of minutes from January 25th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from January 25th, 2022.
Second.
Dee made the motion, Judy seconded. All in favor of approval of the minutes for January 25th, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Carries. Goal setting 2022.
So this was included in the last meeting packet. I don't know if you guys have had any time to think about special projects or initiatives that you want to work on this year.
They have anything they want to add to it or suggestions?
Well, that's kind of my motions, maybe.
Okay.
I want to, the database,
Yeah,
just to kind of, because I put that on there, I kind of, because it's been like 3 years, I know things were scanned, but it never got, so we could look at it, you know, have a website to look at it, which was supposed to happen. And that would have been nice during COVID to have been able to look at these files sometimes, because we couldn't come down to city building all the time. So maybe put that on goal setting or
okay.
look into where we are on that.
Yeah, I think we would probably have to actually get a database system because that's going to be a very large
Okay.
thing.
Because I know we bought
We have
quite a
Dropbox.
few things.
So everything, all of the scan files, you know, they're there, they're ready. It's just how to efficiently host that online It's too big for us to do via Google Drive, which is how all of the other linked information on our website is formatted. So I'll have to do some brainstorming and see how we could host that large of
Okay.
a collection of data online, but I do think that it would be a good resource for people, even just to get property history from.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess just that I put on here, put it over into goal setting because,
Yeah. Sounds like a great goal.
Would the Lakota group be able to do anything like that with what they're doing?
Not with the project that they're currently doing. I do think that it's something we could look into in the future, paying a consultant to host that and set that up for us. But it's outside of the scope of their work currently.
Okay. Anything else about goal setting? Anybody else have any suggestions? Discussion on vacant neglected properties.
So I gave each of you two little packets. One of them is from the Municipal League, and this essentially outlines what is in the Arkansas Code about nuisance properties, unsafe and vacant properties. And the city has adopted by ordinance sections 902, 903, and 904, word for word, in Title 5, which is the Health and Sanitation chapter. And I provided just some of that to you in the other packet. But that doesn't exactly cover historic resources specifically. So if you turn in the packet with Title V heading, you'll see a lot of red text. That is taken actually from several other cities, such as El Dorado and Russellville have demolition by neglect and deferred maintenance ordinances that protect historic properties. So I put this in here as just an example of theoretically what that could look like if Eureka Springs was interested in having an ordinance like that. Essentially what this would do is outline what deterioration or deferred maintenance looks like, and it would require that property owners keep properties to a higher level of maintenance to prevent decay to the point that you're having to do substantial replacement of material, or in the case of vacant or abandoned properties, that they become so deteriorated that they actually are condemned and lost. So there's kind of two parts there. One is the maintenance part, and the other is demolition by neglect.
Would this be up to us to endorse in future, or would this be council?
This would be a recommendation from this commission to council.
Okay.
And council is the legislative body, so they would be the final vote on this.
Okay.
did city council a few years back do a clean city ordinance?
You may be thinking of ordinance 2201 that was passed in 2014. That's where a lot of the language in Title V maintenance of property comes from. But again, it doesn't explicitly say anything about maintaining
No, I know that. but-
physical property or outline anything for historic resources specifically.
I think we should read this and think about it and put it on the agenda for our next meeting. talk
Yeah.
about, and see what our plan of action could be to present this to city council.
I agree.
I'd like to thank you, Kylie, for all this work you went to. I appreciate it
Great.
very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And what would be, if the person or persons do not comply, what is their punishment, if you will?
So that would be the same as what is outlined for other nuisance properties.
Right.
So they're given 10 days to correct a violation. In other preservation ordinances, that does vary, so I think there is some flexibility for a remediation plan. It could be 30 days, 60 days, or just at the discretion of the building inspector. And then you all, as the HDC, are brought in on that process. So you will review that plan of corrective action, be sure that it is an appropriate plan as far as Secretary of Interior standards and design guidelines, and that you feel that it's a reasonable time frame for those changes to be made. And you will also work with them to issue a COA for that work. If the work isn't done within that time frame, then they would be issued a warning and then a citation, kind of in line with the rest of property maintenance.
But there's no enforcement then, per se?
Well, that's outside of our,
But who,
the enforcement's built into the chapter. Whether or not it happens is kind of a different
because
issue.
I can think of half a dozen properties in town today where nothing is being done and there's no enforcement of anything being done. So the issue is not that we're not aware that there is neglect, but how does one deal with owners who know that it's neglectful, have been informed that it's neglectful, and still do nothing? If there's no repercussion, this is all moot.
But if we did, like Steve said, read all this, and we come back with some suggestions next week, and then maybe we have a workshop or something to plan and take it to city council, maybe that would give it some more teeth. I don't know.
And maybe invite a city council member to join the workshop. Someone we think that might champion this cause to bring
Might be
it
a
to them.
step in the right direction.
Yeah.
What do
I
we
think
have?
it'd be good, too, to be made public in the newspaper, what
Oh,
we're
yeah,
doing.
all meetings would be.
Might shake some people up or make them aware.
Or there may come a point where the city would just demolish the structure or affect the repairs, which I know it has been done in other areas, and then charge the derelict owner.
It's good part to discuss.
Yeah, I think that's good things we'll bring for discussion, yeah.
Right. Discussion on COA follow-ups?
I'm not quite sure what information you all wanted currently. A change that I have made is I put all of the COA decisions into a spreadsheet so I can sort them by date. And I can quickly reference what's been approved and what hasn't. According to current procedure, after you all issue a decision and the COA is given to that property owner, you're not responsible for following up on that. The building inspector is made aware of exactly what decisions are made. He's actually given full copies of the packets that you guys get. So the ball is in his court after it leaves your table, so to speak. I do try to follow up on the more major impact projects and just kind of sort through my spreadsheet and every month just do a drive-by. But some of it's hard to tell when doesn't look like a lot's happening from what I can see from the street. And it does seem like projects have been really delayed just over the last several months, I imagine because of materials and things like that. But that is the follow-up procedure currently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda meeting or setting,
I added one more thing to, I think you want to do before that.
Okay.
On consent agenda and administrative approvals.
okay, consent agenda, you gave everybody a copy.
Yeah, I gave everybody, this used to be, Kylie, I'm sorry, this used to be on our things under consent agenda, and I think that one's the most important. If everybody agrees with me, it tells that any commissioner or a member of the public may move any consent agenda item to the regular agenda for discussion. I'm pretty sure the public's probably not aware of this unless they read it every time we have a meeting. And I know, like Judy, I think it was last fall or summer, you asked me about it, and I think Randy too, and that evening you guys both took something off of consent and put on it, but you were reading this on our deal and said, oh, can we do this? So I think even us, when I typed this off of one of the old ones, I didn't realize it said member of the public even. I guess I knew at one time, but it just clicked. I'm like, oh. So I just wondered, should we put it back on the consent under by consent and just under that for each meeting, or what do you guys think?
I think what you're saying makes sense.
Certainly on this page at least, where you're going to be signing it.
Well, it used to be right here on our
But I mean,
Right underneath in smaller print, is what you're
Yeah.
saying, right underneath
Right, I
consent
didn't bring one
agenda?
of the old deals.
Used to be on our regular meeting all the
Right.
time.
And then the administrative one was just underneath there, and I don't know if it's so important, but it's just educational for the public on involving no changes in materials plus changes in roofing and painting. If somebody's new to town and don't realize,
And that would be on the city webpage all
yeah,
the time, too.
and on every
Right.
agenda.
I was going to ask, is it on the city website?
Not the printing.
Where it's not?
It'd be just this, right? That's what's on the city.
Yeah, it's the same.
So we can add these to this. That
What do you
wouldn't be
think
a
about that,
problem.
Kylie?
I mean, it's up to you guys. Those are pretty much pulled right out of procedure, so
Yes.
it exists. But I do think it is important for the public to know that that's an option
Right,
Yeah.
if they don't know that.
and the commissioners.
And I know,
just a reminder to us.
yeah, like I said, I'd forgot about the public may, so I just, if you guys,
I think it's a good idea.
should we?
Do we have to put a vote on this, or just agree to have it added on to our?
I don't think you'd have to
Yeah.
vote on
No.
it, but just so I'm clear, do you want the consent agenda and admin approval
Yes.
thing on there?
clarification.
Okay.
And I gave you a copy too, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
It's good
Anything
for
else, Dee?
new people that are coming in, too, that aren't
Yeah.
aware that they can do that.
Exactly.
Okay. Agenda setting for March 2nd, 2022 meeting. Anybody have anything else besides what we already discussed?
No, I would have waited, except I thought, well, kind of important to get it
Yeah, let's go.
discussed.
Next meeting, March 2nd, 2022. Level 3 application is due Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Level 2 applications due Wednesday, February 26th, 2022. I do want to apologize. On 7 Armstrong, we did have a email from a person, a neighbor, a Farrell K, that said, I support the parking project at 7 Armstrong that Megan and Ryan Morris are planning. Thank you, and please let me know if you need anything else. Signed, Farrell K, and her phone number. I forgot to bring that up during our deal, so I'll put that here so you put it in the file. Public comments, there wasn't anybody signed up for public comments?
Nope.
None. And commissioner comments, we'll start down here with Judy Holden.
No comments today, but again, I would like to thank Kylie for all the work she did and the information that was provided. It was very informative.
All righty. Maggie? Dee?
I want to thank Kylie also because I keep saying, I think she's doing a fantastic job, so
Great.
we keep giving her more to do.
Kyle?
No comment.
Marty?
No.
And I would also like to thank Kylie. I think she's doing a great job. Doing a great job, Kyle, as secretary over here. So. All right. Director comments?
Yeah, I have just a few quick things. As you probably noticed, Randy Maddox did have to resign, so he will definitely be missed, and that means that we have one vacant seat available on the commission. I also was notified that our CLG grant for this year was amended. The Basin Park statue fountain repairs, the Parks Department is unable to get that work done within the time frame, so we were able to roll that money into outreach for the design guidelines. So we'll be able to print those and host some workshops and hopefully get some like postcards mailed out to the public. So that will be great to help spread the word on that. And then a couple things that we have coming up. Hopefully by next meeting, we should get the award announcement for the next year's CLG grant. And we should have the draft design guidelines from the Lakota group as well. So that's exciting.
Yay.
And that's it. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Do I have a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Dee made the motion.
Second?
Judy second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. We are adjourned.